never think that war, no matter how necessary and no matter how justified, it's not a crime. It's always a crime, no matter how justified it is, no matter how necessary it is. Just end it. And I know people don't even watch our podcast, and definitely Putin doesn't watch our podcast, and he would not give a shit. But I just wanted to put it out there. I mean, we wanted to put it out there, just the way you're saying, put out Abramovich. All right, cash is king, and Roman Abramovich is now ready to sell Chelsea. If you have some money, I'm just looking at my drawer. If I have 3 billion spare, so I can buy a Chelsea club. Let's start with what he said, but we're not going to go through the entire statement because we're not Joe Rogan. We don't have 3 hour bandwidth and nobody watches our podcast. So if we make it longer, it'll be even less people. So this is what he said, and I've actually changed few words as well, but trust me, I have not manipulated it. He said, in this is a truncated version, he said, I have decided to sell Chelsea. Sale of the club will not be fast tracked, will follow due process. This does make sense. I will not be asking for the 1.5 billion loan to be repaid. I wish he had given me some money as well and said, don't worry about it. I have instructed my team to set up a charitable foundation where all net proceeds, which on the internet people saying what exactly is net proceeds, for the sale will be donated to the victims of war in Ukraine. So I'm saying victim are the people who have already died. Like which ones exactly is who are we talking about? Although he does clarify, in which I've removed that paragraph, so just to keep it more confusing. This has been an incredibly difficult decision to make. However, I believe this is in the best interest of the club. I hope I will be able to visit Stamford Bridge one last time to say goodbye. I don't know how you will be, to say goodbye to all of you in person. You don't even talk to anybody. I don't know which people are you talking about? Chelsea Football Club and its supporters will always be in my heart. Thank you. And he writes his first name Roman. This is like very personal, like very, very personal. I think he did. The only thing he didn't do is like his lip marks on the letter. Now my
He
question
would.
is, the Chelsea were valued at 3.2 billion. This is on Wikipedia and everything in 2021. Lal, you love football. If you had a few billion quid stashed in your boot of your car, or I think in the normal countries people say trunk of the car, what would you pay for Chelsea, and what do you think is the fair price? I mean, like let's just say a short answer here, because I mean there's a lot of reasons, but like short answer, like
Who the hell knows what the word fair means, right? I
yeah,
mean, what the
what
hell
would
kind
you
of a
pay?
question is that? I mean,
We're
see,
hovering
by the
between
way,
1 to 4 million for different reasons.
just to give you a context, 19 years ago, Abramovich bought Chelsea for some 60 million pounds, okay? 60, or something around that number. It was less
Yeah,
than
yeah,
like
yeah,
100
correct. But he
million.
spent billions on it.
That's fine. That's fine. So, of
No, I was
buyers,
just asking short answers. What is the fair? Like, what? Forget about even if you don't believe in fair. What
2.5.
do you think?
I would
2.5.
say
Okay, fair enough. That's
2.5.
all. I'll give you an option to answer it elaborately. Now, Roman Abramovich apparently is asking from 3 to 4 billion, which seems a lot. Financial analysts, I don't know who the fuck these people are, think it's ridiculous. They feel right now the value could be around 2 billion, give or take. Okay. Now, also they're saying, but we also have to consider the fire sale aspect of it, because right now he has to sell it. Although he's saying like we're not in a hurry. I mean,
Yeah.
how can you not be in a hurry? The whole reason you're selling because you're not in a hurry, and it can bring the price down to like to $1 billion. I mean, because you have to sell the goddamn thing. No matter what Abramovich says, he doesn't have the time. He doesn't have the leverage. The buyers have the leverage and the time. What do you think will Chelsea end up selling for in this big Black Friday sale, as Roman simply cannot wait till the cows come home? He doesn't have a
By the
choice.
way,
He needs to goddamn
by
sell.
yeah, there is a secret angry like world war kind of going on, because very soon the sheikhs are also joining this war. They are like
So,
fucking
so
Putin. Why
Sheikh
didn't
can
you?
buy this. He cannot.
No,
He
no,
cannot keep
no.
it. I just.
Hear me out. Hear me out. The sheikh is angry with Putin, and they might like try and help Ukraine and like throw Russia away, because these guys kind of sank their money in Newcastle when they could have bought Chelsea. So they are now screwed with Newcastle. Now they can't buy Chelsea, and they're like, "Fuck you, Putin! Like, couldn't you have like done this a few months earlier? Instead of having gone to Newcastle, we could have gotten a club in London and the size of Chelsea." Anyways, I think that was on a side note. But yeah, I don't think even if it's fire sale, it'll go down to 1 billion. I don't think Abramovich means when he says, "Oh, don't pay me like my loan or whatever." The selling price will include all the loans and everything. It's just the way how you structure and like it's all English, right? It's just words. So like, they'll say, okay, 3 billion net, it includes like all like Abramovich's cut and everything. And like, he'll say, oh, like I'm not adding any loans onto it because it's part of the price and all that. That's my hunch. But I do believe that 2 billion, 2.5 is my upper limit in this situation. No one will pay more than that. Two is more realistic. One is like, oh my God, that will be a steal.
but can't be ruled out in this situation. Now, I'll also explain
Yeah.
what you just said earlier. So it's like right now, for example, like if Roman doesn't want the 1.5 billion his loan to Chelsea, also he doesn't want any penny from the entire sale or whatever the proceeds that will come through, which could
Hmm.
be anything between 2 to 3 billion. Chelsea will eventually sell for. Question is like, why even bother selling? Why even bother doing anything in the first place? Because it's not like the UK government is going to like pull the shutters on Chelsea. It's like, okay, no, go done, you're finished. It's not going to happen, right? So they're not going to shut down Chelsea. Now, my point is that, see, what's happening is definitely the motivation to sell and give all the money to Ukraine will massively boost Roman's goodwill, right? Once you just, and because he specifically said to the Ukrainian people, whosoever suffered, and for the long term problems as well. Now, he doesn't want to get lowballed on the price because he's a true businessman. Even if he's not taking the money, he will not give the money back to like some fucking random businessman, right? He'd rather give it to Ukraine. So why? Because that will help his goodwill. Otherwise, you're stealing the money. So he doesn't want to do that. He want to make sure that he at least he gets the old price, and whatever money comes in, then that goes to the charities, not some fat oligarchs, fat pockets. That's my understanding, and that actually also makes a lot of sense. But I think right now he's given up on the money. He's like, he doesn't care. He doesn't even want it. He doesn't seem to be like bothered about it. In fact, he wants it to go to Ukraine, but he wants to make sure that money, he doesn't get discounts to the people who are buying it, because those are the people that. But right now people are queuing up. We should get the discount. But no, he doesn't want to give them the discount. He wants all the money to go to Ukraine, including his 1.5 billion. That's going to come.
I kind of disagree. Like when you said UK will not pull shutters on Chelsea, that was the big motivation or kick up his ass, because UK is planning to freeze all assets of these Russian oligarchs, because there was a red carpet to these Russian oligarchs so far to buy up properties and buy everything in London, and Russians love that. Now the big thing that UK can do is squeeze the balls of these oligarchs by shutting their business. They can't pull out money. This is indirect. In my mind, I think it's directly a consequence of that. In the UK Parliament, there is pressure on this guy Boris
Boris
Johnson,
Johnson.
that why hasn't he sanctioned Abramovich yet? How can he sell anything? Like his assets should have been frozen. So to my mind, I think that's the big motivation, and the whole charity for Ukraine is all PR to make sure that the government does not stop the sale, because then he can say, boss, like all the money is going to Ukraine. Don't you want to give money to Ukraine? So the government also can't squeeze him. It's a very smart ploy, whoever came with this way he will get out of Chelsea. The government won't block anything. And once in the trust fund, wherever the Ukraine trust fund, whatever money goes there, who knows on the ground how is it spent. In fact, it can be a way to like launder his money. He might say, okay, add my 2 billion to this, and like, oh, 5 billion white money came, and like, now it's like money laundering. So I mean, I'm saying, I mean, I don't have any proof of this, but I don't think that uh, the UK government's pressure is one of the big triggers for him to sell this.
Yeah. I think I completely agree. In fact, I could be the one who is naive here, because whatever you're saying makes logical sense as a businessman. But what I'm just trying to like understanding from like just see, what my understanding is like after a certain time, right? He's 55 now. He was 35 before when he took over the club almost 20 years ago. Um,
Yeah.
I think right now he doesn't have the motivation for the money. It doesn't really matter, which is very normal, common phenomenon out in like once you have money, just after a while, it just doesn't matter. Like 1 billion, 2 billion, how does it matter? Like what are you gonna do with it? I mean, if you've seen him wear clothes, he doesn't even comb his hair, doesn't shave, just wears whatever the fuck he cares. So my that was my understanding. That doesn't care. What I was trying to tell. So, but obviously, what you're saying is obviously logical. I could be the naive person. I just like I think at the end, probably you'll also agree that probably he's probably disinterested in the money, and he wants to make sure that he comes. And also, I think you know that he's actually of Ukrainian descent, uh, and he doesn't even live in Russia. He was born in Ukraine. His mother or somebody is Ukrainian also.
I mean,
So he is.
Ukraine is recent, right? Everything was USSR. I mean, no
Yeah,
one
I
is
mean, like
born
he
in
was born on
Ukraine
that
who's
side.
above.
He was born on that
Yeah,
side. His
that's
mother is
fine.
Ukrainian, who lives there. He doesn't live in Russia. He lives somewhere else. So what he's see, when I said that they will not put the shutters down on him, the deal is that if he's not taking any money, doesn't even matter. Like if you're not going to make any money out of it, so it doesn't matter. You don't have to go through all this stuff in the first place, right? So which is my understanding. He doesn't want money. So the deal is that the government will not shut down Chelsea. They will not fuck up their own club. That's the point. It is not going to happen, right? People still going to get paid and everything. It's just going to be like he's going to be kicked out, somebody else might independently might take over, but Chelsea will not be impacted. They will be impacted psychologically. There will be pressures and other things. People will be confused, but it will not be like, oh, suddenly. And of course, anybody who new comes in, they will not be putting in money like this guy, but who knows who is going to come in. But right now they're saying they're not.
Correct.
I think Saudi owners will bit of a no-no, and Eastern Europe is a bit of a no-no. So it's going to be American, and you know how American is. They'll probably fucking leverage debt and shit. So for all you know,
Correct.
which
Yeah.
they've done to our
Yeah.
fucking thing. So that was my understanding of this. That was going to happen. But okay, let's talk about another. Let's talk about. Let me ask you this 27 billion Lebanese pound question. And if people don't know, I'm not making this up. Lebanese people actually call this currency their currency pounds. I don't know why. Is this assault on Abramovich the right thing to do, or is it flat out woke move, which is so typical of the 22nd year of the 21st century? Like I'm somebody, also to make clear to people, I'm somebody who believes with absolute certainty. So if you were like, how are you absolutely certain? I am okay. Just fuck off. That no rich person becomes rich without someone's blood on the $1 million diamond their then girlfriends wear to bed every night. They're like, oh, they're already married. Of course they're married. They also have girlfriends. How the fuck are you a rich person when you don't have girlfriends? What's the fucking point of being rich then? So, but even I don't get how on earth is Abramovich responsible for the war? And I repeated, how is Abramovich responsible for the war? Even in the same breath, and in the same breath, you let all the Saudis buy every fucking thing who are directly linked with human rights abuses, buying Premier League clubs, and suddenly Abramovich is this evil person because Putin has gone complete batshit crazy on Ukraine and he's not stopping. Abramovich just he just knew somebody. Do you really think Abramovich did anything that will started the war? He had anything to do with it? It was Putin. He's just gone mental.
I don't know. I mean, see, since I'm not an expert in this domain, but from what little things that I've heard and read somewhere, is that Putin became, I mean, sorry, Abramovich became rich as an oligarch with the separation of USSR, and like, of course, like he would have
That
done
is
some
that
dirty
is
deeds.
that is that is fairly true.
So
Yeah.
the point is that there are ties where he is donated to Putin's campaign or whatever, like he pays the Putin tax or something. So we don't know yet as a person whether he's doing it because he has to or he believes that he or he wants to, but there are some links or ties there, right? So for example, like I know what you're saying makes sense. Like for
But
example,
he's
if
not
tomorrow
asking for the war.
I
Ties like
know,
people
I
have to do
agree.
certain things, right? He
I
doesn't
agree.
live in
If to
Russia. He doesn't
correct,
live in
if
Russia.
tomorrow
Hasn't lived there
it's the
forever.
right, the analogy is like if tomorrow, let's say India like bombards or invades some country, and in that country Mukesh Bhai has some business, and you ban Mukesh Bhai's assets, that's the right analogy, right? Like you would
Yeah,
say think
and
that
that's like,
what the
I
fuck.
didn't ask for the war.
Yeah,
Why would he?
yeah.
Like his assets gonna get frozen. He said loss.
the
Why would
point
he
is
want any
the
war?
point is this will indirectly put pressure on Putin. Like what they are trying to do is tax and make sure like you screw the powerful rich Russians who has an ear of Putin. That's the whole logic. I don't think there is any logic in like screwing Abramovich. Like screwing him will not stop the war. The point is they, at least it will give Putin, like these guys will like yell at Putin or like say whatever, like guys, like we are getting screwed, will not be able to donate to your next campaign or whatever the fuck he does, if this continues. That to me is the tactic, and it's not like, oh, like let's just fuck him because he's Russian.
Yeah, it just feels like more and more Putin is going like crazy. The more and more other people are suffering. But I do understand once they do all these things, it puts pressure on Putin. My, but I've been reading newspaper. I mean, just he's just going more aggressive. I mean, I don't know. It's working in the other way around.
He
He's
doesn't
just
care.
gone.
Yeah, he's like this crazy asshole who's like on this rampage. And I mean, he might have some his point of view, but the way that he's
He
like
has a point of
attacking
view.
cities,
He thinks it's very
yeah,
logical. You come out,
yeah, I
if you
know.
listen to him,
If,
you listen to him, and he's very out there. He's like, these
correct.
fucking batshit crazy Ukrainians don't even deserve to be a country in the first place because they're not supposed to be. They're completely
all
illegal.
dispute
It goes on and on about it.
all disputed territories all over the world, whether it's Palestine, Israel, Kashmir, Ukraine.
It's
There are
like
so
which
many
side
of
you're
them,
on,
right?
right? Pakistan
Which
thinks
side
that
you're
we are
on?
stealing
Correct,
stuff. On this
correct.
side, we
Yeah,
think they're stealing our stuff. So it's
which
just like which side you're
correct.
standing.
It's the same thing, right? And the shit happened decades ago, right, or a few years ago. No one really knows what the true, like, people who would have signed the deals or like drew the border would have been dead or something. No one is there. There's no living proof of anything, and now these things will continue for like years and decades. So yeah, he's just gone batshit crazy, and he really doesn't care. Like, he thinks that if any country like does anything against them, he's openly said, right, the third world war will be nuclear, and Russia and US both combined would have 90% of the world's nuclear like arsenal. So everyone is scared of poking him because he's like a crazy person and can do anything, and no one wants to like take that risk.
Yeah, but like obviously Ukraine, if you know that Ukraine poked him, right? They instigated this stuff. They just like they somehow felt that it wasn't gonna happen. And they were the one who wanted to like get into the NATO and do all these things. These Russia has made it clear to them that you behave yourself, you stay neutral and just just back the fuck off. Behave like Switzerland. They were like, no, it's like flying. Because part of them is also Russian, right? It's all Ukraine and all same people, right? They all speak Russian. So and then this guy just said, okay, you know what? You're gonna fuck with me. It's like, that bully, class bully. Sometimes you're like, I'm gonna stand up to the class bully. I'm not gonna sit in a corner. You call me names, I'm gonna stand up. Then the class bully said, no, I'm gonna do to you. Like, wait till you. And then rest of the teachers are like, don't do this, don't do this. They're like, you fuck you. I'm just gonna fuck with these people. And they're going completely crazy. And this is how it is. So that brings me to the last question for today. It's like, do you think Roman Abramovich will get to say the final goodbye at Stamford Bridge? I think it's highly unlikely. I mean, given the fact that he hasn't even been given visa since 2018, and there was nothing there, and now this war has happened. I mean, it's already game over. I mean, this guy has tens of billions of dollars, can't even get a fucking visa, and I don't see how he's going to ever come to Stamford Bridge. Like, it's just, I think that's a bit of an hyperbole, or like pipe dream from his mind, that he thought like he'll come back and say goodbye in person. It's not going to happen. Doesn't make sense. And
Yeah,
why will he come in 5 years later with some different owners? Like, that will not even be not making any sense at all.
I just feel for Chelsea fans, right? I mean, he's probably the greatest ever like football owner, like club owner, like probably in the history of the world. Like,
He
I'm
is.
sure
He
Man
is.
City,
I mean, complete
I'm sure
transformed everything.
Sheikh Mansour will overtake him,
No,
but
that's a
till
country.
date, yeah, still it doesn't. So I think it's just insane. I mean, I just feel sorry. Like, John Terry tweeted a photo of him and Abramovich holding a trophy, and all the woke guys are out for him. That, who the fuck you? Like, you are you like brain dead? Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Oh, reading the room
There's this
situation again.
controversy.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, I
read
can
the room,
understand.
you
You
asshole.
can't have an opinion now.
So
Like, you can't have a different
yeah,
opinion. Like, suddenly everything Russia. If you see my WhatsApp thing, so I put my name. Like, I've just used a Russian language. I just put a different. I put a
okay,
word in Russian language. I was
the
like,
script.
I just
Yeah.
said, yeah, the script.
Hmm.
So like they can put name, right, or whatever title or something. So I just put,
Hmm.
and the meaning is just means love, and I just put love in Russian because like that's the way. And people were like, why would you put in Russian? You couldn't put in Ukrainian. I was like, well, same ही language hai yaar. फर्क नहीं पड़ रहा है इतना कुछ. So yeah, so it's not going to happen, right? It's a pipe dream, right? It's not going to happen.
Yeah, it is. It is. I
So
don't think it's going to happen.
all right, fair enough. So I'm gonna end with this thing unless you have something to add. I'm just saying, like, I hope Putin just smokes some hash and just backs off, because that's what hash does. And war is awful. Okay, war is awful. That sounds like one. I'm just sounding like one of those cliched fucking movie stars on the internet, on the fucking social media. But I'm gonna end with this thing which I used to read a lot. I started reading a lot long time ago, and I used to read this guy Ernest Hemingway, who was a great American writer, who also happened to be an ambulance driver in World War One, which really influenced his writing, which also made his writing a lot more raw. He said one thing which I never forget. He said, "Never think that war, no matter how necessary and no matter how justified, it's not a crime. It's always a crime, no matter how justified it is, no matter how necessary it is." So from that, in that note, I want to end this and saying, like, you know what, just end it. And I know people don't even watch our podcast, and definitely Putin doesn't watch our podcast, and he would not give a shit. But I just wanted to put it out there. I mean, we wanted to put it out there, just the way you're saying, put out Abramovich. Let's not put out Abramovich. I mean, the entire world is there. I don't know what the hell they're doing. Like, they can't do anything. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, literally, people are just standing back and asking them to, like, not do it. Just do something. I don't want you to get aggressive with him or whatever, but do something for fuck's sake, man. Just sanctions, and not letting Abramovich seize, freezing some assets.
and
Do more. Like, do more.
and just even like
It's just
US, the so-called superpower, right, has clearly said we will not be involved. We will send you money, we'll give you guns, you do your own
It's
battle.
because of
We will
US
not.
this Ukraine did what they did. They got balls because of US. They thought
So
US will
yeah,
help them. The US is not helping them really. Like, he's just being like passive about the
correct.
whole thing. They're like, let's
At
do
this
peace.
yeah, at this point, like a few guns or a few $1 million, how will it save them from this mighty Russian military? It's just beyond like
Also, it's not
crazy.
going to be useful, right? Ukraine also trying to fight
Yeah,
back. How's that going to help? You're going to fight back. They're going to go more aggressive. No, we need to find some peace. We need to find it. I thought 2 days ago they were going to talk to each other and just like fix this goddamn thing. It hasn't been fixed. I don't know what the hell
and
they talk about. It hasn't been
imagine
fixed.
the
Their
precedents.
prime minister is a
Imagine,
fucking stand-up comedian. Okay, this is like Joe Rogan
yeah,
becoming fucking
yeah,
prime minister. I just found out their prime minister is a fucking stand-up comedian, and he's in his
yeah. He
forties,
was
and he was completely disliked.
Zelensky.
Only recently,
Yeah,
suddenly, he just had
yeah.
this. I'm going to come and fight Zelensky. I was like, they're also a bit of a joke republic. I mean, it's apparently a very big country. It has 44 million people, and it's the second biggest country after Russia in land or something.
And I'm just
Could be bigger
thinking
than
what kind
India
of
a lot.
precedents. I just wonder like what kind of precedents this sets, right? If Russia can like screw this Ukraine, tomorrow they can like do the same thing to Czech Republic or some other smaller country.
If they
And
hate somebody, they
everyone will be
can.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and US
Yeah.
will
If they
say
hate
sorry,
somebody, if
sorry,
they feel
we
this is our
yeah,
territory,
because they now know that
yeah,
if we
it's the same
screw
thing.
this, no, yeah, no one will come and like shoot us or do anything to us because they are scared. It gives them more belief if in the future they
But
have to do
people
something
don't want to
like
get
this.
involved, right? People don't
Yeah,
want to get involved because it's messy, right? Once they get involved, it gets messy. So I understand that. Same way when there was a couple of years when China was like very aggressive towards India, and India was like, "Oh no, we are big shit. We are like, oh, ego. We will also fight with you." We can't fight China. We just like, it's just dumb. Like, if the war had started, they would have fucking battered us. Like, would have battered us. Except that I'm happy that even your Gujarati prime minister was like little bit, bit subtle about everything. He was not too aggressive. He was saying some stuff,
yeah,
but he was not trying to
only in
like piss the fuck
election
off.
rallies, 56-inch chest comes out. Then
Yeah,
otherwise with China,
yeah,
I don't
15
know
Jan-
what the
so
size
he
is.
didn't actually end up antagonizing China, because if they had attacked us, yeah, if they had attacked us, I don't think it would have ended well. It couldn't have ended well because we are like Ukraine. We have to understand. And they are like Russia. They would have, and the rest of the country would have sent us aid. How would that help? People are dying. Okay, we don't want to fight these people. We want this war to stop. We don't want more. Even Ukrainians asking for more. Andriy Shevchenko or whatever, these people, like, we want more ammunition. No, you don't. There is no end to it. You cannot, you have to do the Gandhi thing. You can't, like, eye for an eye is going to make everybody blind. You can't keep shooting back. You just need to sit back and take it. Just talk to them. Just talk to them. Fix the fucking problem. I think Russia is ready to talk. They are ready to talk, but they just want to tell you that, you know what, you fucked with us and this is what happened. They will back off. I think by the time we have next podcast, something would have changed, and I really hope I'm right about this thing. But right now, Russia is trying to tell them, you know what, this is what happens if you fuck with us. I think they're trying to set an example for the rest of the world also, that you don't fuck
Well,
with us.
fingers
This is
crossed.
what we're going to do.
I hope this ends soon. People are suffering, dying. Cities and houses have collapsed. I just worry about the aftermath of the war. Like, I mean, people, the leaders will talk, dialogue, whatever the fuck. Like, what I read was 10% of the population of Ukraine has already like are refugees in other neighboring countries. What about their lives? Like, they will never, they don't have homes. Forget bank accounts and money and all that. They are screwed. The whole generation of Ukrainians are refugees forever. That's
Yeah, they're
the
going to be just
that's the thing that you need to think.
Yeah, they're going to just be gardening or doing the lowest paying jobs possible and wherever. They will have nothing. And that's the way it is going to be. And that's what they will remember. And they'll just always be like, we were just, this happened to us. And their next generation will keep thinking about this happened to us. They'll always be just victims. And
Yeah,
no matter what anybody says, I can 100% know that till the time you believe you're a victim, even if you are a victim or not, does not matter. You need to get away from that victim mentality, because this victim mentality stays with you. It has stayed with the Jews. It will stay with Ukrainians. You need to get that mentality out of your head, because you can't control what happened to you, but you can control what happens to you. And if you just keep thinking you're the victim, you're the black guy, you're the brown guy, and you'll never move forward. So like, you just need to get on. And easier said than done, because once your brothers and sisters are killed and you were kicked out of your own goddamn country, it just stays, because that kind of evolution takes like 30, I'm just talking like this, I've probably thought this about for 30 years in my life. So it is very slow. These things happen very slowly. So by the time these people realize they're already going to be too fucking old, it's not going to happen. So, well, either way, as we said, fingers crossed. Let's see. Hopefully by next week or very soon, something good happens and Putin backs off. Hopefully everybody just uses their head and not think from their pants, inside their pants, or whatever their dick heads they've been thinking in their head, their dicks. They need to put it out wherever in the back in the pants, and hopefully this will be better. But that's all we can do for, because we have, we really have no power, absolutely. Except tomorrow you'll start freezing, hating me because India attacked somebody. I'm like I really didn't do anything. Nobody asked me. Like I have no power. I'm like nothing. I'm nothing. Like we are nothing. So yeah, on that note, thank you for listening, for your time. So we know this podcast became a lot of things, and the previous podcast became a lot of things. We'll see you next time very soon.
all right. Thanks, folks. Like and subscribe, and talk to you soon. Bye bye.